Welcome to the Mill Experience, where we have up close and personal conversations with people that I admire, people that I look up to, and fixtures of the game. It's no secret to anyone that my guest, when he enters a room, his warm-hearted and bubbly personality will make even the darkest day become bright. My guest, along with his sister Michelle, was a contestant of Season 7 American Idol. In 2008, he joined WACH Fox Good Day Columbia, where he was so popular, they gave him his own show for 6 seasons. He now has a brand new album. He's a radio personality for the Big DM and has his own restaurant, Country Boy Kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Lampkin. I'm glad you came on the show. I'm glad to see you. I'm proud of you, brother. You representing the hometown very well. Everybody here, man, is proud of you, man. Let me ask you a question, man. How do you get started in singing in the church? What made you want to, start performing in the church singing?
You know, what's crazy about that is that back in, I guess that would have been 1980s, because I was born in 82. So back in the 1980s, that's all that we had in the rural South. Like church was it. Church was your social function. Church was your primary function. Of course, you had T-ball and those different things like that. But the way that we were raised down in the South, it was church. And so we would go to school and everybody would meet everybody and everybody would know everybody from those different the grades and classes that we were in. And then on the weekends, it was like someone's choir anniversary. So you literally got the chance, like it was a sense of community, because literally beyond faith and school, that was all that you had, especially when it came to the African-American Black students. We were more, you would do the recreational activities, but a lot of our parents were working at factories, working at plants. Something Industrial Park was very big at that time. Federal Mogul was big at that time. All of the plants were very big. Sunbeam was big at that time. So you had enough money literally to take care of your family, and there just weren't a lot of other activities. So it came to church. And if you were a singer, you would sing. And even if you weren't a singer, mom and dad would have you singing on the choir, literally.
Yeah, that's facts.
So everybody sung on the choir. Everybody grew up singing, even if you couldn't sing.
I was lip singing. I was lip singing when I was on the choir.
Everybody did it. Everybody's like, you start out anyway. You start out on the choir. But I thought it was such a great training ground because, it broke your shyness. It gave you a sense of community. It taught you how to fellowship among other people, and it taught you a discipline because there was a rehearsal that took place the Saturday before the Sunday you're going to sing, and you would have to be at that rehearsal and you have to rehearse. And I had a director who made sure that we were going to do it until we got it right. So it created a sense of discipline. So it was so many different things, but I think if I was to say anything, that was all that we had back in 1980 and 1990. And it was one of those things that I really think really fostered the sense of community and kept the village together.
Were you a shy child? Were you?
Not at all. Not at all. Right? Not me. Not me. You know what's so crazy though now? And this is one of my truths that people are learning about me. To see me in front of all of these crowds, and I get called to all of these venues, and God gives me the opportunity to be on stage. To know me though is to know I don't like crowds. Wow. I don't like a lot of people. Wow. I do not. I
hide it well, brother.
I will not go to,
You hide it well, brother. I can't tell.
Yes, I do not like crowds. I don't like crowds. I don't even attend like large sporting events unless there's a purpose that I have to go somewhere. I don't attend events because I can't handle large, massive crowds of people. So many people. I don't know what it is for me, but it's so weird. But I'm always in the face of people, but I tell people I'm a very public, private person because I'd rather be at home on my couch. And if I have a few friends around, that's fine. But as far as me being out in the public and like large crowds, especially like large events and stuff, that's not my thing.
I understand. So I guess comment for the Harrison. I guess you was nervous, huh?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
It worked though because I was in performer mode. B, everybody was in their car.
Okay,
And then
I didn't think about that.
oftentimes,
Yeah,
yeah, everybody was in there. And then oftentimes when I'm at those events or anything like that, it's okay because I'm often ushered in through a back door.
mhm,
Um, and I am a person that I love people. So I'm gonna speak to the
yeah,
people.
yeah,
But as far as just like, you know how sometimes people want to come through the front door and want to see everybody, that's not my thing. I'm even when I go to events now, like I, I have to literally force myself to speak to people, not because I don't want to speak to them, but when I walk in and I feel like all eyes are on me, I'm so nervous. All I want to do is get to my seat and sit down.
I get it.
I'd rather sit down and then look around and then wave at you from a distance
I
than
get
for
it.
me to have to get up or like to walk through. And when I'm walking through, everybody's going to be like, Jeffrey, and it's like you're stopping. And it's just, and mine's like, oh, mine, it's so weird. It's
Yeah,
so weird, but
yeah.
you got to
Well,
do it.
a lot of performers, when I say performers, I mean singers, they start off in the church.
Hmm.
And then once they get, to a certain level, they venture out into like R&B, country, etc.
Hmm.
You didn't go that route. What made you stay in the church with gospel?
Um, it's just God. It's like my natural thing, and it's probably the most challenging genre to sing.
Yeah.
In R&B, you really R&B to sing as a singer to sing R&B is so easy. It's so simple. It's emotion, but you don't have to hit a lot of growling and riling notes. You just are very central. The approach to the song is so easy, but I just never had a desire. I would sing pop, I would sing inspirational songs. I would sing some love songs, but it was just something about gospel for me. It was something about gospel and choirs, and I think there were so many layers to gospel because there's contemporary, there's the traditional,
Mm-hmm.
there is the choir side, there's quartet. I'm not a big quartet fan. I
Gotcha.
love it, but I love the old school quartet. I like the Canton spirituals and the stuff of back in the day. I like that type of stuff. But as far as like going to quartet programs and things, that's never been my thing. But choirs is my thing, and I love choirs. I love gospel artists when they're like soloists and the whole genre of it. It just like it's always been inspiring to me. But I think even more so is that gospel music really, the music heals, but gospel music really does heal. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can be going through a situation or going through something, you can put on a playlist and it really shifts your attitude,
That's
shifts your
so true.
mind, shifts your momentum at the moment. It really does, so it speaks. Um, and it's a feeling that stays with you. So that's one of the things that I loved about gospel music. I think why I kind of veer towards that way, and it's timeless. As I've watched, because I've studied music so much. So even as you watch the genres of music, there was a point in time where you had singers in music, and
Mm-hmm.
they sung. You
Mm-hmm.
had the Patties and Aretha and Gladys and Whitney and Michael, and you had all of that. These were singers and
Singers, yeah.
artistic developers within their set, right? And now these days and times, it's it's more about effect and a quick hook line and different things like that. Music has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Music has changed, but with gospel music, it is timeless. We are still singing total praise all these years. We're still singing God is and God said it and order my steps. And the music is timeless. It transcends generation to generation, culture to culture. And at moments where it seems like hell is all around,
Mm-hmm.
um, God's music prevails. So it was a no-brainer for me.
So, do you listen to any other music like R&B? Or if you do listen to R&B, is it the old school? Do you
Absolutely.
listen to the new guys?
Absolutely. All of it.
Okay.
I am a huge I am more, now I will say this on the I am a huge R&B fan. I love R&B, but of course it's the R&B kind of my generation per se. So I grew up with Brandy. I
Yeah,
grew up
yeah.
with Monica and those artists like that. Now since that time, my absolute favorite artist hands down is PJ Morton. I am a PJ Morton fan till the ends of the earth. PJ
Yeah.
Morton is my guy, my dude. I didn't grow up with him. I think we're
Mhm.
about the same age, but I didn't grow up with him.
Right.
But I think by the time his music came out, I was an adult. But
Mhm.
PJ Morton for me is like Oh, he is excellent. He is everything. So I listen to that. I listen to Anita Baker. I can sing Anita Baker like the back of that's my karaoke go to right there. Anita Baker is it for me. She is it for me. So I love Anita. I love Teddy Pendergrass, the
Teddy P.
OJs,
Yeah.
and being at the Big DM now, it allows me to really understand and just learn even more music. So I've recently gotten into Shalimar. And I never was like I never was but not was really into him, but now that I just have found, I'm just like, oh my god, like the beats and the music and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
love it. So yeah, I love R&B. I love R&B now. R&B, it does. And then I love, I am a musician. Like I'm a musician. I went to college. I actually did I studied classical music while I was in college.
Wow.
So I've sung classical, so I love arias. Like everyone else has that. Beyond rock study, Nessun Dorma would be my absolute favorite song that Aretha Franklin did.
Wow.
Like everybody else can go through her other catalog, but for me, Beyond rock study, when she did Nessun Dorma at I think it was the '98 Grammys, it was like, it was mind blowing to me. But it was again that country kid who I felt like Aretha, who loved gospel, who loved the Lord, but was challenged to do something different at that moment in time. So I really I listen to all sorts of music. And when you come in my restaurant, the playlist that is playing is the one that I made through Apple Music. So I made it through them, and it has so much diversity to it because I love so many different types of music. The base of it is gospel or R&B, but you have pop, you have classical, you have country in there, because Shania Twain is my girl.
Yeah.
So it
My
just
wife
depends
likes
on the
Shania
day.
Twain. Yeah.
Shania Twain is my girl. That's my girl. She's dope. Absolutely.
Well, let's take it back to the past, man.
Okay.
How was your experience at American Idol, and what was the process?
Wow. American Idol. Who?
Taking
American
it back,
Idol was
right?
probably that definitely taking it back. It probably was one of the best experiences of my life because it was a launching pad and I did what God told me to do with it. It was a launching pad and I really didn't understand it at the time. I didn't understand that I kind of saw it as, this is my moment. I finally have an opportunity to allow the world to see what I knew God had placed inside of me. And when Simon and Paula and Randy said yes, it was just like one of those things. American Idol was a tedious process because you don't go straight to Simon, Paula, and Randy. You literally have to work. Like we went for the first audition. It was so many people. I'd never seen that many people in my life. We got out there. It was my sister and I. We got out there about 3 or 4 something that morning.
Wow.
This was down in Charleston, South Carolina at the North Charleston Coliseum. We
Yeah.
got out there. It was already lines of people. And I mean, it was even more that came behind me after the fact. It was humongous. I had never seen anything like it. But what I realized then is that so many people can sing.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of really gifted people. So the lessons that I learned from American Idol, it's not just singing.
Yeah.
You got to be an all-around personality. There are great singers out there. There's some singers who are better than some of the singers who are professional singers, but they don't have necessarily the personality, or they don't have the character, just different things that they lack, that you've got to have a total package in order to be international and national recording artist. And so what I found is that it took a lot of work. It takes a lot of patience. When I was out there, I don't know why I put the tie around my head. Something said to do it. I think that's the moment. That's the moment, when I really learned to follow my inner voice.
Yeah.
Follow me, because there are a lot of singers out there, like everybody. But it was just like, you got to be you, like be different. And it wasn't the idea of the concept of the tie around my head. I think it was just showing that you'll never meet a guy like him. He's just different. Like
You're always going to stuck.
He's just.
You're always going to be
That's
stuck
it.
in their brain.
Exactly.
You wanna
Like
keep that
he
image to 'em,
stands
yep.
out. Exactly. He stands out. And it's just like, so I took the tie, I put it around my head. So by the time we got into the Coliseum, it was a little after 7. And I did not audition. I did not get down on the floor until after 2:00 that day.
Wow.
That's how many people were ahead of me. They had lines, so it was probably like 12 or 13. It might have been even more than that. but they have booths. And remind you, you're on the floor in the Coliseum. All these other people are singing at the same time. They will bring you up to a judge's table, and there was 4. Well, immediately over in the other section, there are other people singing. Everybody, you just hear singing, 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 singing. I will never forget this as long as I live. When it came time for me, the first song that I actually did was Shantae Savage, Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive. I did I Will Survive, and I kid you not, it was so packed and everybody was singing, but it was like a silence came up when I started singing. My voice carried so much, it was that came across. Judges were coming out of their booths and other people that they're supposed to be watching to see this. Who is this guy over here singing in the middle of the auditorium on the floor? And when I was done, the auditorium erupted in applause and claps and everything. Wow. It was the first time that I really realized, I guess I was old enough to realize God has given me something different. It's just something different about me. But I never thought that I was supposed to be a professional singer. I felt like I was supposed to be versatile enough that I had that component, but there were other things that he was going to want me to do. And he's been showing me that more and more. Because oftentimes, if you look at some of these hosts and these different public figures, they have the ability to sing, but they have the ability. Tyler Perry, prime example. True. I often look at myself as a mini Tyler Perry. I write plays. I act. I love acting. I love writing plays. I sing. I direct. I do all of these different things, but they're all going to work together in the end for a bigger picture that God has for me to do. And so we did that audition, and from that audition they told me to come back again, and finally we had to come back. So it probably was like 4 or 5 auditions before the actual taping of You're Going to Hollywood. And on that episode, it was me, my sister, and my cousin. My cousin came with us that day. And we went down, all these days were just long days, but it teaches you patience. You had to learn songs. And that particular day, my sister did, I Believe in You and Me. I think that's what she did. I did Stevie Wonder's For Once in My Life. Okay. And we sung together. So we sung together first, and then we sung separately. And next thing you know, as the show showed, we were going to Hollywood. I couldn't believe it.
I remember that.
Yeah. And that's then again, and you know what's so crazy though? I was so Manning, small town, country. I didn't realize the impact of it. You really just don't know the impact of things. If I am who I am now, I realize like, yo, this is major, it's big. At that time, I'm going to Hollywood, I made it. What did blow my mind was that there were so many singers that I knew who were hailed as amazing singers. Yeah. And they didn't make it, but I made it.
Your personality,
I knew it was
brother.
more than, I knew it was more. And and what was crazy was during, so we went on to Hollywood. It was just long days, long taping, long everything, West Coast, different environment, different climate, learning music. It was a lot. And we got up to the semifinals, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was on the stage. I was given a whole new world. And I stepped on the stage, and it was magic. It was literally magic. I started singing, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I'll never forget, I got to the part where it goes into the chorus of A Whole New World. And I hit that first line, and Paula held her hand up, and her face, and she dropped her face, and she was like, you know, it just went wrong. Being candid, I didn't know that it went wrong. I didn't know what she was talking about. Yeah. But what I wasn't going to do was, I hadn't seen enough American Idol. I'm not going to be on the stage talking about, please take me back. Please give me another chance. That wasn't about to be me. Yeah. So I was like, I said, okay. I said, yeah. And I just agreed and shook my head. It wasn't until the show actually aired, and I had to wait for the episodes where they were doing Hollywood Week, and they showed a clip of it somewhere. It wasn't even a full thing, but they showed a clip. And I heard the note when I went to A Whole New World. And the note was flatter than a pancake. Wow. It was flat. Wow. And I think that again, small town boy
Yeah.
on this huge stage, huge band. I never had none of this before. I never experienced that. And I think I just got caught up in the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, it went down. But American Idol opened the door to everything else because I didn't take it as like, oh, I didn't make it and that was it. I kept going. And when I kept going,
You never stop.
yeah, I never stopped. Never.
Your foot still on the gas, brother.
Hands down, all gas, no brakes.
There you go.
We've got to move.
Facts. Who won that season?
That was David Archuleta and David Cook. David Cook and David. It was the Davids that year. So it was David Archuleta and David Cook. Yeah.
Well, how was it performing on Good Morning America? Correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't start off going there to perform, right? You asked the host.
No.
You asked the host of the group perform, correct?
The choir. Well, what happened was the choir was on tour.
Yeah.
We were on tour, and I took this lessons. I try to tell people you got to get up. So I'm such a TV fanatic. I love TV. I absolutely love TV. And so that what happened was that day the choir had all sorts of things, but I said if anybody wants to go to a taping of Good Morning America, we're going to go. So some of the students got up. You got college students; they're not getting up. It was so early. You had to get up like 4 a.m, but some of them got up, and we went down as a group. Those who went. We went down and we were there. I was just excited to be in the room. It's Good Morning America. It's TV. Yeah. I'm in the audience or whatever. Well, what happens is that in between the tapes, they ask the audience, why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. It just, God moment. It just so happened that it was American Idol Day on Good Morning America because American Idol started out on Fox, but it ended up on Good Morning America. Mm-hmm. So a producer saw me and said, aren't you the guy from American Idol? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And what are you doing here? And I explained my choir was on tour. You're here with your choir? So I saw them. They talking to each other, blah, 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 whatever. So they told the guy who hosts in between, not on the TV, like they have somebody who entertains the audience. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I heard we got a choir in here and somebody who used to be on American Idol. That was me. And he was like, okay, so if I ask you to sing, you're going to sing later? Absolutely, no problem. Now, all of this was not on TV. Robin and them were not upstairs. They were downstairs because at Good Morning America, it's 2 floors. So Robin and them were downstairs. We were upstairs. Mm-hmm. And when it happened, somewhere in between, he said, all right, this choir, y'all ready to sing? You got 30 seconds, I think he said. And we got together. I at that time I had a little tambourine that I carried in my bag. I had a tambourine and we got it together and we sung. And the audience just was like losing it, producers or everything. And that's what happened. And so after that took place, we were Robin and them came upstairs. They taped the second part of the show. When the show was over, we were done. So that's when they'll take time to like greet people or whatever the case may be. And one of my students said, Miss Robin, we're here with my choir director. We're here. You got to hear us sing. And she was like, oh, well, y'all the people who were singing earlier? Because everybody heard about this choir. And that was it. And what happened was her makeup guy was with her and they're standing beside and we sung. And the rest was history. We sung. She said she was going to post it on her social media. She posted it on her social media. It was on my social media. The thing went viral. It was the biggest video that Robin has ever posted in her entire career as far as views. Yeah. And
this day too?
There,
Until this day also, or?
Until this day.
Wow.
Until this day. Wow. And there are other things that I knew like it was going to break the record that she has posted. It hasn't.
Wow.
Still Jeffrey Lampkin and Francis Marion. Wow. Still the most viewed video that she's ever had. And so after that happened, we sung that day. That was it. I left on about my bit. Of course, I always tell people always want to make friends with the talent. Make friends with the people who are behind the scenes. Be kind to them. They remembered how nice I was to them or whatever. So they have been sitting in a meeting and they needed a choir. And they said, we should bring that choir back that was here. And Robin was like, yes, because that's been the most views. They reached out to me and the rest was history. I got the choir back up there. We got up there to New York. And next thing you know, we're live on the actual Good Morning America show. And it was just, wow, surreal,
Now,
surreal.
did that lead to you going to watch Fox?
No, American Idol led me going to watch Fox.
Okay.
So after I finished American Idol said, Watch Fox heard that, some people from South Carolina made it. They invited me on for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
During the interview, after the interview, they were like, hey, we really love you. Would you be interested in doing like commentary for the season? Sure, I'll be glad to. Be on TV? Absolutely. And so I did that season. And I guess my personality, the viewers loved me. I went on about my business. I thought nothing of it. They called me back for the next season of American Idol. I came back that season. I did it. They said, you're really good. Have you thought about doing entertainment reporting? Next thing you know, I'm doing entertainment reporting. So when American Idol was over, I'm still on in the mornings. I'm doing entertainment reporter. Became an entertainment reporter for the morning show. And from there, like it just kept going. Then one of the producers behind the scene was like, you really need to have your own show. Thus, the Jeffrey Lampkin show at Watch Fox. 6 seasons at #1. Never would have imagined that was going to happen. Mind totally blown. And what's crazy about it, I would have still been there, but the Lord told me to walk away from the show. The Lord told me to walk away from Jeffrey Lampkin's show. It scared me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Black guy with a television show. That's unheard of. In South Carolina on Fox. And I had a #1 television show. And the Lord told me, walk away from the show.
Wow.
And I was obedient. My faith and just the way that I was obedient to God. I walked away from the show. Fox could not understand it. Why are you walking away? What are we doing? Like, what's wrong? And I was just like, I never said that the Lord told me to go. I just said, it's time. I've got to, stop and come to an end. And we stopped the Jeffrey Lampkin show. And then not only did God tell me to do it, but I was not allowed to do a farewell. There was no farewell. There was no, God gave me such specific instructions. I was not allowed to say that the Jeffrey Lampkin show was coming to an end. Nothing. He told me to just walk away, and I did it. For about 9 months, I was lost. I was empty because people would walk up to me in the store like, yo, what's going on with your show, man? I haven't seen you, man. I miss you. You got to go through that whole, and it's just like, I'm like, yo, don't worry. I got something. It's coming. But I knew nothing. I don't know what was coming. I didn't know anything. And I was doing at that time, I had, because of Fox, we were already partnering with the Big DM, and they were having women's empowerment. And Chris Connors, who was the head of Big DM at that time, he asked me to be over the community choir. Bring it all this, and that's why I said my gifts, God allows them to tie together. He asked me to be over the community choir. I was over the community choir, did it the first year, everything was great, did it the second year, was fine. The third year, we were looking for talent, and I said, well, Chris, let's do something different instead of having them submit videos. I told him to let me take the lead on it, and I did a social media thing where people would do like a talent show through Facebook. It was highly successful. Chris told me to come in on Dee Dee's show that Friday. Come in that Friday, and he said, you're going to do an interview with Dee Dee. I came in that Friday. Dee Dee happened to be out. Who was sitting in the chair? Chris. I walk in, I sit down. Chris looks at me and Chris says, yeah, I was talking to somebody this morning. They said Jeffrey Lampkin will be good for your Sunday morning show. What? Are you serious? I just looked at him. I didn't say anything. I looked at him. He dropped that nugget. So I think I may have reached out to him maybe about once or twice or something. And then after that, I didn't say no more. I didn't hear from Chris. So all of that had to be between like August and September. I didn't hear from Chris until maybe March. In March. And we started planning Sunday Morning Gospel. And by April of whatever year that was, 18, 17, somewhere around then. But during that time, Jeffrey Lampkin became the host of Sunday Morning Gospel, and he took a chance on someone. What was crazy though, I never thought I was going to have a television show. I always thought I was going to have a radio show. In all of my interviews, even with American Idol, I said I wanted to always have my own radio show. When I was a kid, because again, we didn't have anything to do, I had the radio, the cassette that had the 2 cassette sides, and I would record. I would make literally my own mixtape. So I would play my tape, play the song in between. I will record myself talking in between, making my own radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, you just don't know where your childhood dreams are going to allow you to go, and just doing that. And here I am now to fruition. Done did the television show.
I listen to it every Sunday.
My own radio show.
Yeah,
so
man.
now I have my own radio show, not one, but got two of them. So I have my own radio show, Sunday Morning Gospel, #1 by miles. I mean, so
I listen to it every Sunday. Yeah.
It blows my mind. Thank you. It blows my mind. #1, not only #1, he has me, a guy who loves gospel music, on the R&B station. And I think it's so surreal because he knows me. I don't judge people. See, I think everybody matters. Even your drunk uncle that comes to Thanksgiving, he matters too. Everybody matters. I just love people. So he's allowed me to be on the largest station in South Carolina doing gospel music. That's God. That's nobody but God.
All the way, baby.
Then the show is now #1. The show went more than doubled where it used to be. The show became #1, and we ended up changing leadership and stuff at the Big DM, and it just kept growing. And my new leadership, Brown, he came to me, and we were talking, and next thing you know, now I have a Saturday morning show. So I got Saturday morning and Sunday morning. We talk about that R&B. So I actually play on Saturday morning. It's all about love. So it's R&B.
It's coming.
Gospel, but it's all about
It's coming.
love.
Yeah.
So it's all about just because this is about love. Getting you up in the morning, getting you moving, getting you inspired or whatever. I do think that one day, somewhere along the way, I would love to have a morning show. I would love that. Like a weekly morning show like Steve Harvey has. Absolutely would love it.
It's coming.
Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, I receive it. Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, all those people, like, they inspire me. So I'm literally, like, if you look at my trajectory and the way that I move, I really move following and studying the greats. These are the greats to me. Steve, people often ask me, like, what haven't you done? I have not met Tyler yet. I have not met Steve yet. And I want to meet them, and I don't want to ask them, help me get to the next level. I just want to glean off some of their knowledge, and I want to be able to tell them what I have done by studying them, by just studying them. I don't need to have a conversation with you. Study them. If you really believe in them, study people. If you believe in something or you want to be somewhere, study what the people who are doing it are doing, and don't be afraid to mimic it. People often say, oh, you shouldn't copy what other people are doing. If it's working, why would I not? That makes no sense to me. If the system is working, why am I not going to follow a system that is laid out in front of me? Now, you got to craft it and make it to fit your individual self. Yeah. But if the system is working, I'm going to follow the system. Their system works. The good and the not so good. You learn what to say and what not to say. Because some things that Steve says, I can't say it, but Steve can say it. So you learn the rules.
You can say it. You don't want to. That's it.
But you know what I'm learning, E? I'm learning that I can get away with saying stuff that other people who are behind me couldn't get away with saying.
That's true. Yeah.
And the more that you grow and the more that God elevates you, you really do have the ability to get away with things and kind of say some things, and people will be like, yeah. And people will be like, people support who they want to support. I don't think that's it. I just think that as you grow, you get more credibility. Yeah. If I trust you, then you can say something that somebody else, I don't know how dare they say that. But if you say it, it's like it somehow carries weight or relevancy. So, yeah.
Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Miller Experience. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share.